Oh, hey there, Speed Gaming 2. What's going on? It's your boy, The Schwantz27, and it's time for a Worlds Collide Wednesday. I'm joined tonight in the commentary booth by Night 2. Night 2, how's it hanging today?
It's been a pretty interesting day, but, can't be too bad here. Getting some panic jumping in the chat just a little late here, but definitely enthused to see this Wednesday Moogle Cup between these four here.
Yes. So this will be a really interesting, exciting race. So what is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide? It's the open world randomizer for Final Fantasy VI, or as some of you might know it, Final Fantasy III. And the goal is to defeat Kefka, walk through his tower and go beat him up. So in order to do that, we need to get 6 characters and 9 espers. For this particular flag set, it is the Moogle Cup flag set, and I'll explain what that is in just a minute. But we start with 3 characters. So those are the goals for the randomizer in the gold numbers on the bottom there. So that's what we're trying to do. And the key items in Worlds Collide, I guess you can call them key items, are the characters that you get. They are the ones that unlock more areas of the game. So depending upon which characters we have, that determines which areas of the game we can go to. The chests are randomized, the shops are randomized, the character abilities are randomized, the spells on espers are randomized, the bosses are shuffled amongst themselves, same with the dragons, the enemy encounters are randomized. So it's kind of like a treasure hunt to get through the seed. So Night 2, can you tell us a little bit about the Moogle Cup that we've got going on here?
So what we're looking for here is at least 6 of those key characters that you just alluded to, and 9 of the Magicite. Now, the one thing the characters do keep is their vanilla equipment pool here. However, we do have some sub-objectives here. High-tier relic. I believe we're talking Genji gloves, offerings, XP eggs, along that suplex a train there, performing in the opera. Not sure we're going to see that. Sid fans, if we go for it, we go for it. There is but good loot to be had if you want to take the time to do so. We're also looking for 9 Magicite here. Again, all randomized. We're not sure what the boosts are. We're not sure what the spells taught. We're happy to get a couple certain abilities we're looking for, your golems, your Fenrirs, things of that nature at least. But we don't start with any of those and must find at least 9. We do also have that Kefka's Tower skip looking us in the face there. If we happen to have 9 characters, 12 espers, or do we have the 22 check in here or not? I'm not sure.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So if we end up doing a lot of world events or checks, as we're going to call them, throughout the seed, then we kind of give a consolation prize for our runners. They could skip to the part in Kefka's Tower where you fight the statue bosses. So that's sort of a fail-safe in case some things go very, very wrong in the seed. And we might see multiple different paths throughout the seed because unlike in some other RPG games where there's sort of like key items, right? There aren't really any in Worlds Collide. We do see Fiery Blizzard often running Edgar with Lore, Slot Realm, Tools with Mog, and Natural Magic as well on Edgar. So it's interesting to note that this is a Moogle Cup race. So Fiery Blizzard is actually not what we would consider a Moogle. I believe he is a mentor, or if he's not a mentor, he's definitely at the mentor type of skill level. Whereas the other 3 runners on our team are either in the Moogle Cup or they are Moogles that are just starting out. So it'll be interesting to compare and contrast the different styles of the different players here, as Fiery Blizzard already picking up the first Esper on the Figaro throne there, which is one of Edgar's checks with that Esper there.
Also half-price shops here. Aegis Shield for a good sellable here. That's 20k in your pocket right now. We have Min going that same way there to Dimar, I believe, if I get that pronunciation correctly, going to a little bit more of a casual loot or normal looting into the Returner's Cave. Darkness heading to World of Ruin Albrook. I love those shops. I love that placement. I just maybe want a little bit more in terms of money before I head that way.
Yeah, so there are 6 treasure chests that you can get to in World of Ruin, Albrook, 5 in the World of Balance here. And with these characters, we do have access to, as I mentioned, Edgar gives us the Figaro throne, as well as the Ancient Castle and the Engine Room in the World of Ruin, South Figaro. Realm gives us access to Owser's Mansion, as well as the Esper Mountain, where she draws Ultras's picture. And Mog gets us access to the Moogle Defense, where the Moogles go and rescue Terra in the vanilla game, as well as the Lone Wolf check, as we do see Min grabbing that Esper as well. Darkness, however, in Albrook, finding Thunder Shields and Cat Hoods in that shop, plus some Enhancers and Shurikens right away. So Albrook World of Ruin has got the goods right now in terms of shopping.
Speaking of goods, Demar in Balance South Figaro has pulled an Atma weapon out of one of the boxes as well. And we do know that Edgar is going to be able to wield that from the word go. Probably wants an XP egg or something to go with it, but a good piece to have starting so quickly here.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, the equipable item pool is what it was in the vanilla game, plus a 33% chance of some sort of randomness. So what does that mean? That means that Edgar can definitely use that Atma weapon, and some of our other runners may or may not be able to use it. We will see as time goes on if they can use that weapon or not.
And I believe that was a near 35,000 on World of Ruin Zen Thief there. I assume Darkness may be wanting to get a second opinion on that and check the World of Balance, how much they want.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we don't know what the Thief is selling in the World of Ruin. We just know what the price is, and it can be different than the World of Balance. Darkness finding yet another Cat Hood, this time in World of Ruin to Zen. So the game definitely wants us to have those kitty ears. That's a really nice piece of equipment to have because it gobbles up all the possible GP from a fight. So these encounters that we're going to be doing in just a moment here, we'll be getting some nice rewards from it if we are equipping that Cat Hood, of course.
Yeah, not only that, it has a large amount of elemental resistances as well. I believe Fire, Ice, Lightning, one or two others. I cannot recall exactly, but honestly, definitely in the argument for potentially best headgear in the game.
Yeah, so there's a saying, you can't afford to not buy a Cat Hood, right? So it'll make its money back definitely for you here. So let's talk about, the mechanics of the randomizer a little bit here, Night Dew. The first maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, is going to be this looting and shopping, right? Just seeing what the seed gives you. And we start on level 3. And unlike in some other RPG randomizers, the enemies are based on, or the difficulty of the enemies rather, is based on how many characters and espers that you have. Take that number, add it together, and then multiply by 2. And that's the level of the enemies, bosses, dragons, etc. We start at level 3, and some of our runners, their enemies are level 8, and other of our runners, the enemies are level 6, which means we kind of have to catch up to them in levels a little bit. We do give our runners 3 Moogle Charms, 1 for each lane in Kefka's Tower. So our runners can decide to take off the Moogle Charm to do some grind fights, or they can go to some of the checks that we mentioned earlier, and some of them have forced required encounters in them, or very easily accessible encounters. Given that, Night Dew, what would you be doing first after you're looting and shopping with this team here?
With this team, what I would be looking at is I would probably be leaning towards possibly turning those encounters on and getting something I can take. If it's, especially if I can find something that's revivifiable, something I have kind of a cheesy way to kill potentially. Because honestly, and I'll see the 42,000 in balance for the Zen Thief, so Ruin cheaper. Did I just see XP eggs in the? I know I'm kind of going away from that here, but I'm pretty sure I just saw experience eggs in the Zen relic shop here. Yep. Okay,
Yes.
but anyway, there, as I was saying here before I tangented there, really looking for one of those kind of faster, easier checks. Esper Mountain for Realm is definitely kind of staring me in the face. If I want to take a few encounters on the way, though, Owzer's Mansion is also potentially on the way there, especially given it has a save point before the boss encounter.
Yeah, I agree. However, Demar just pulled something out of the item shop there in World of Balance to Zen. Maybe he should have waited to spend all that money, because he didn't get to the experience egg in the relic shop yet. Bit unfortunate with the way that this got routed. There are super balls for sale in that item shop, and super balls do a random amount of damage. Yeah, there's that experience egg for 60k. They do a random amount of damage with multiples of 256 all the way up to 8,120. Which is really good in order to kill a boss straight away, even at level 3, because their damage is not based on your level, unlike basically everything else in Final Fantasy VI. So maybe Demar will go to Esper Mountain, as you mentioned, now that they've found those super balls and can very easily just topple a boss right away.
Yeah, I remember definitely in UL back when we had those super balls. Kind of a cheesy way and to potentially get a high tier item real quick is maybe go take a poke or two at that Opera House dragon with a couple super balls in your inventory as well.
Yeah, so I haven't seen what tool that we start out with, but we do have Mog, who can use Edgar's ability actually with tools, and we have Edgar, I believe, has slots. Is that correct? Or either Realm or Edgar has slots, which is actually a pretty good ability early game. There's a lot of non-elemental AoE attacks with slot, and it is magical base there. So that's why we're seeing some runners pick up some earrings here. Min is all ready to go. Decided, hey, I've seen enough here. Let's get into our first boss fight, and it is going to be here at Esper Mountain. Here comes the boss. Let's see what it is, and it is Funbaba. So this is going to be a tough fight on level 3. Thankfully, we did also find an ice rod there in a shop. This boss absorbs lightning and is weak to poison, but unfortunately, we don't have a poison rod there. Lore list not looking so hot there for Edgar. So this is going to take a while, this boss fight, without a super ball and being on level 3 here.
Yeah, I did like the big guard there. I saw the debilitator, drill, and chainsaw at the very. I know I saw the chainsaw in a box in South Figure. I did not see if drill or debilitator was the other tool started with there.
Yeah, I think it must have been the drill because that's the first one off the rip. That's kind of the one that you want, drill. Chainsaw. We prefer drill because of the consistency of getting the damage versus the instant death proc that the chainsaw has. Debilitator is a nice piece of cash for $2,000. So it's very odd playing this game compared to how playing RPGs casually, where you tend to hoard all of the things that you get. In Worlds Collide, you very much, if you're not using it, you should probably sell it and buy something you can use, right?
Yeah, interesting. Demar's found themselves back in Narsh here. We do have Mog here. One thing I did kind of pass over here is, if you're willing to take those scaling up a little bit more, Lone Wolf 1 is going to offer you a peak check here, and it's probably the best time you're going to get in terms of seeing if Kefka at Narsh has a character or not.
Yeah, so Lone Wolf is what we would consider another one of those free checks similar to the Figaro Throne where you don't have to fight an encounter for it. However, it's quite a bit of a long walk, so we'll see if Demar decides to do that there. Did get a Torado spotting out from Min, so now we know what the Esper was that was on that Figaro Throne. It was Torado. Don't know the don't know the spells that were on it, but at least we do know what it was. And it looks like Demar pulling a Flame Shield, I think, that was out of the chest, so he's got a couple.
That may have been a slots magicite, because I could have swore I saw a freed off the Figaro Throne there.
Okay. Then I must not have been paying as much attention there. So, surprise Torado from Slot. So, Slot is one of those things where it's kind of a rhythm game sort of thing, if you will. If you mash in a certain, cadence, then you'll tend to get things like 7 Flush and Chocobop pretty often. Some of the other slots, it can be literally impossible to get them based on the RNG seed of what we're doing here. So armed with Super Balls, we're going to see how much faster this fight is going to go for Fiery Blizzard here. Meanwhile, Dimar is heading up to Narsh. So interesting thing about the Kefka at Narsh fight that you already mentioned, Nightdew, is you do have to split your party into 2 different parties, right? So that means if there is not a character at Lone Wolf, we're going to be fighting this boss potentially with just 2 characters instead of 3.
That is a very interesting ask at level 3. That's something I might, if I decide to commit to it, I'll probably take a look at one of the 2 enemy formations that's sitting out there and see if I've got something to grind with here.
I did see a ninja waiting for us at the Narsh battle. So the Narsh battle is actually is one of the only checks in the game that's not character gated, and it is the only not character gated check in the game that can reward a character. So very interesting potential piece of divergence here with Dimar going to get Shadow early. And you did see Fiery Blizzard threw a Super Ball at Funbaba for 6,100 damage, and Funbaba's still not dead. So Min has a very, very long way to go with this fight.
Dimar takes the character there, letting the Valiant Knife fall. Now, mind you, that will spawn into Mog's recruit spot in the World of Ruin, so you can always go get that Valiant Knife there. Did get a Shoat Esper as their Fiery is through. I believe the second there gets a Raiden Esper.
Yeah, Shoat with some Doom on it and Speed +1. Always happy to see some instant death for the final boss. And we're going to go grab Shadow here. Now, the interesting thing is we are on level 3, remember, but Dimar does have Super Balls. And even if they did not have Super Balls, the little soldiers that are in front of Kefka here can provide a good grind fight in order for you to get off of level 3.
Yeah, I also saw a spell we're not ready for yet. There was also a Merton on that Shoat there. Wonderful late-game spell if you can pick up the fire resistance, but needs a little bit of setup first.
Well, the good news is that we do know that there are buyable Thunder Shields at World of Ruin Albrook, although I think only certain members of the Restream crew do know where that is. So we can actually get Merton protection in this seed if we get to the right spot. Looks like Dimar here is taking some grind fights. I don't know if this was intentional or not, so we'll see how they get through it. But these are not difficult enemies in order to get through here.
Yeah, as grind fights go, a 5-pack of Pipsqueaks here, especially if you can land a 7 flush off the slot there. Or just that Ice Rod. That Ice Rod will work.
Yeah. Yep, burning the Ice Rod. This is as good of a time to do it as any. Remember, if it's burning a hole in your pocket, you're not using it, and there you go. Really nice heads-up play there. 15 magic points, so we already learned Merton and Doom. So really nice encounter to find. Unfortunately, we're going to fight it at least one more time, and then maybe the soldier running back and forth as well. So we'll check in with Dimar in just a second there after they figure out how to clear out this mob. Min's still cracking away at Funbaba again with the fact that Funbaba's at level 8 and he's only doing like 300 or 400 damage a turn. It goes to show you that you really, really, really need to get off of level 3 unless you have Super Balls to fight a boss.
Unfortunately, there I did kind of notice we're down to 2 Phoenix Downs there, so this does need to end fairly quickly. Now, Realm, I believe, is the one wearing the Thunder Shield there, so is going to be protected against those Bolt 2s coming out. But that Solar Plex is good thing.
No thanks. Yeah, Realm cosplaying as Mog, and there it is. Funbaba gets taken down. Unfortunately, since Mog was dead for the boss kill, we'll not get any of this XP, so we'll still be at level 3, but I think you'll agree with me, Nightdew, that getting through that fight was more important than having everybody alive for it.
How fortuitous. Not only with the Super Balls and Dimars there, but we did see Realm pick up Fire 2 off of a Flame Shield right in time for this Tri-Talk.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any MP for it, but you know what? Just throw another Super Ball at it, and this chicken will go down. Fiery Blizzard does grab Shoat, instead of the Valiant Knife, but I'm sure we'll probably see runners going to get that Valiant Knife a little bit later. Locke is the only one in the vanilla game that can use it, but again, there is a chance that one of our other characters can, and that is a really good endgame weapon for somebody.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see if anybody in this party could equip said Valiant Knife, but we are getting that shadow here very quickly on Demar's side, and is coming with a good stat line, but still not what you're looking for.
No thanks. All right, so now that we got shadow, what else can we do, Night Dew?
So at that point, we do have a free check at the World of Balance Gao's father's house that you can pick up. You can also get his Cave in the Veldt check. And you can also enter, if you're looking more for a grind, Floating Continent is also now available. Long check, but does pay out in 3 checks. 2 of them guaranteed to be characters or espers.
And then I believe his only other check is the Veldt Cave, or did you mention?
Veldt Cave is in there, yeah. And you do get to peek Veldt Cave a little bit before you get there as well.
Yeah. You're basically all the way through the check almost at that point, but it will tell you exactly what your reward is, because you get to look at the ground and say, hey, is this a shiny stone? Is this a character? Or if it's one of those NPCs, then you know it's a dead check. Oh! Darkness in Jador there sees an offering in the shop. So between the offering and the known Valiant Knife, that is a S-tier endgame build that our runners have access to.
Yeah, a known Valiant Knife, a known Atma weapon, an egg. Yeah, we've got everything we need. And in the pot in Alzer's friendship, that's a Genji armor. That's some stats right there.
That's a decent piece of armor there. I tend to poo-poo armor a little bit because the best offense is the best defense rather is a good offense. But it's always good to have it for things like tier 1 and in case you get bullied a little bit. Min, meanwhile, deciding that he needs some more levels, is going to take the Opera Dragon. It is the Skull Dragon. So if they found that Fire Shield, this would be a good enemy to kill with it.
Yes, it would be. Sometimes I do forget there that just like everything else, your shields are resources, and while it's great to keep it around for the resist and learn the tier 2 spell, sometimes if your super balls don't roll very well, sometimes it's just best to let it go and get through that boss that's standing in your way.
All right, so Fiery Blizzard grabbing another Esper there from the free Gao Manor check. The Raiden Esper was pretty trash, but the Esper there was another Esper that he picked up from that check that was actually pretty decent here. Min getting through, first runner down with a dragon. So dragons are great because they give 50 MP, which basically means you learn almost any spell in the game. And there you see, we also get a high tier item, which in this case was a flame shield. So yet another elemental shield. And as Min goes out, Fiery Blizzard comes in. So that'll be a fire shield for them as well.
That
question from the chat.
A whole lot better right now as well.
Yeah, right. Especially with that Merton on. Darkness fighting against a mob here in Alzer's Mansion, 2 of the 3 of which are susceptible to getting revivified, as you mentioned earlier. Really nice grind fight to find. And we've got a question from chat from DM Stewart. Am I wrong to prefer dual-wield VK with Genji Glove over VK with Offering? So what do you think, Night 2? What is your preference?
Wow, that is... so if I'm just looking at terms of raw damage, yes, I want to run the Offering, and we found an old man on Edgar's check there. However, if I'm climbing like Kefka's Tower and I want to target down specific pieces, there is nothing wrong with just the Genji Glove. You do sacrifice shield, elemental shields, paladin shield if you can get it there. And I do like myself good bevy of shields to block that. But if I want to, eliminate a tiger that is ruining my day, yes, I would rather have the Genji Glove and BK so I can direct that damage.
Yeah, I think it's a question of, do you want to be able to target your offense, or do you just want to deal more damage, deal more raw damage, right? The Offering gets you more damage. So at the end of the day, it's usually the preferred method, especially with a Genji Glove Valiant Knife user in the front row, unless you have a decent armor, like, say, the Genji armor, you're not going to survive at lower health, but I think having that targetable damage is definitely preferable in a lot of different situations there. That was Bahamut at the Moogle defense check. So World of Balance Narsh is basically cleaned up, except if we run into Terra later. And we do see Strego and a Vanilla Tentacles fight. This is pretty gross.
Pretty gross, but what isn't gross is in the hidden chest in Owser's Mansion where the Relic Ring usually sits. That's a free XP egg. So
wow.
Yeah, Darkness finding that sounds great.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's putting the egg onto Edgar, the one that can use the Atma weapon, right? So, hedging his bet for that build there.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the few. I know I've been through it so much, and I always still. Each of those tentacles does tend to nullify or absorb different elements there. And half the time I do not remember half of them there, so but unlike the original vanilla game, you cannot you can't hedge your bets with running shoes to stop the entwine and the seize there, which would normally keep your characters from getting grabbed, and that's kind of the big thing between all the damage drain of sitting on and the poison that they're usually fond of deploying there. It's usually not a good time if you half your party is grabbed.
Yeah, this is a very annoying fight. It will slow your characters down. That seize inflicts the slow status, which just makes fights take forever. The bottom left tentacle, which is already dead, is actually susceptible to instant death, and it's weak to fire. The bottom right one is weak to ice, and I don't remember what the other two are. I can never tell. Thankfully, we were able to grab Realm before they died, although, getting elemental resistance there from that Moogle suit. Question for you in the chat: do you think the Moogle suit is made of real Moogle, or do you think it's a synthetic?
It depends. Did the Yeti make it?
Fiery Blizzard there taking advantage of Rod for taking out Rexol. So in Worlds Collide, Rexol does not do the zinger part of his boss script. We did that on purpose because if we found Rexol in, say, Kefka's Tower, or if you found him with, a low amount of characters, it would basically make that fight impossible to beat.
Yeah, the monster in a box we saw in the adventuring school out in Narsh is the Are You Feeling Lucky? Because that was Pugs, and if you want to go after Minerva's, you can, if you have a steel command, it's great. We do actually have that shadow. Owser's Mansion paying out in the big stick, though. That was an Illumina.
Yeah, so that's nice for... Oh, wow. Strego has Throw. So Old Man coming through with a really, really nice ability there. So we see some vast divergence already with our runners here, which is always cool to see as, someone in the commentary booth. And we'll continue on to the Ancient Castle here. Fiery Blizzard, sticking with the World of Ruin check, going to do the Velt Cave. Darkness does not have Shadow, so cannot do the Velt Cave. And we'll see where Dimar ends up going after this, being in finally finishing out Narsh. They did grab that Esper on the throne, did they? Yeah, I think they did.
Yes. It does look like Min, at the very least, is... Now, there are two monster in the boxes down here. There's a dragon. There's a check. There's a lot of stuff in the Ancient Castle, but it's not a fast check either.
Oh. I think that was Setzer?
That looked like
Setzer. Face down? All right. Setzer is going to be our reward here for Velt Cave if we can get past whatever this boss is here.
I'd say, interesting enough, with that Strego and company, plenty of elemental resist. If I get another offensive spell away from Merton, potentially, I really like... I've definitely kind of turned on it here. Having a Strago, especially given that I get to peak the reward, Fanatic's Tower is usually looking a lot better to me these days.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed piece of progression, and you could go fight a dragon there. And it also counts as 3 checks. We were talking about that check skip earlier on. Another vanilla boss for Fiery Blizzard there, SR Behemoth. We can debate in the chat what SR stands for. But that is a runic Setzer, so that Setzer is probably going to stay on the bench. Oh, nice dragon horn there in the wall.
Yeah, won't be outdone though. Wing Edge and Megalixir up in the pots in the upper right room of that castle, and an ice dragon. Usually, I'm not so enthused to see this just because Northern Cross exists, but we do have some Fire Tube ready for this.
Yeah, and we looted a fire scheme on the way in here, perfect for Strago with throw. So, so throw is an interesting ability in that it allows you to throw weapons at your enemies, and it will deal double damage. It never misses. You can do the same damage from the back row, and it ignores physical defense. So it's a really, really powerful ability, and there is a Valiant Knife from the dragon there for Min, so doesn't even have to go walk and get it from the Moogle mines, and that is also Fenrir down in the Ancient Castle, so a huge double pickup there.
I have a question for you. Are Yetis normally capable of flight?
Well, this Yeti is able to jump, but I'm not sure he can normally jump this high. So, yeah, we mentioned Strago has access to Fanatic's Tower, which has the same gimmick as the vanilla game. Magic only in Fanatic's Tower. He also gives us access to the Burning House, where there is those flames that we could dodge or not for forced encounters. And he also gives us access to Ebbet's Rock. Setzer gives us access to the Doomgaze spot, which is what you saw Fiery Blizzard do there with Search the Skies. That's how we came upon our Yeti. Also gives us the Colin Jinin, which is the next thing he's going to do here, and that's another Magicite Phantom, as well as Daryl's Tomb. So we've got some more areas of the game open to us.
There is very much a peace of mind from not having to worry about the Doomgaze ambush, potentially, if you have Setzer around and you want to clean out the skies fairly early. Otherwise, sometimes if you're just not in a good position, you might have forgotten to throw the sleeping bags around, and you're flying around the world ruin. Sometimes those guys do search for you, and sometimes they're not as friendly as the Yeti that they saw.
No, we had with the fire magic that we had, the Yeti was possibly one of the better bosses that we could find there.
We did see Fiery saying, "I don't need a shield. I'm going to two-hand this Illumina with that Edgar there." Yeah. It's kind of interesting. We are seeing the progression, at least as it pertains to Shadow, as he ran into that Setzer. We haven't seen any of the Strago checks to see if there's other diversions to be had with his checks.
All right, so Funbaba giving Dimar the business here. He's down to just Realm. So let's hope he can get the rest of his characters up. One thing about the Illumina is that it is great for the Gauntlet, which is the relic that makes you two-hand things. The Gauntlet gives you basically doubles the battle power of the weapon, and what that is equivalent to is essentially anywhere from like 30 to 50% more damage with that sword. Min checking out the bottom of Fanatic's Tower. That's a merchant sprite marching amongst the cultists, so that means that check is an Esper. We're going to move on and try and find a character instead, maybe put that information into our mind later. Dimar does get through Funbaba with just Realm up, so we'll have to consider getting some more levels for those characters that did not make it out of there, but was able to get through that, which is really nice.
Yep. One of the better ways, if you're definitely looking for a bit more XP, as Fiery is showing us here with good levels on those characters, even with that one of those XP eggs there, is you're going to go through 4 random encounters before you get to 2 bosses in a row heading on the floating continent approach, before you even get to any of the checks there. But if you feel behind, it's definitely a good way to catch up.
Yeah, for sure, because there are not only the 3 encounters and 2 bosses that you mentioned here. But there's also 2 encounters later on in the third part of the floating continent that you can pick up as well. The downside with the floating continent is that even though there are 2 guaranteed pieces of progression up here, it is the longest, area check in the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see Fiery going for it here. What's the chances that you're going to get 2 characters here? The best possible, he finds another one. He ends up at 8-6, and 1 check away from go mode, still plenty. And I did not see him pick up all those Thunder Rods, but paying dividends here for.
Yeah. Between the Thunder Rods and I believe Ifrit, which was the first Esper we got, had a Magic Power Plus stat boost bonus on it, means those magical things will do a lot of damage. Remember your boss resistances boss weaknesses. If a boss is weak to a particular element, you actually do twice as much damage as you normally would. As you see Dimar going back to get the Valiant Knife, in case you were ever wondering where the Moogle Mine check is, that was where it was. And speaking of where it was, I think that was Dataluma. I barely blinked and missed.
That absolutely was Dataluma. Did we ever figure out if anybody in these parties could actually use those BKs?
I think we're about to find out now here, as we do see an Esper at the first part of the floating continent. And here is an interesting play from Dimar, heading to the Colosseum. So in Worlds Collide, the items that you bet are randomized, or rather the rewards for the items that you bet are randomized, and the enemies that you have to fight for those items are randomized. However, there is Colosseum AI, so what we tend to do is put a build in that can do some pretty good stuff, and Realm can do some pretty good stuff here.
Yeah, Potion for Snow Muffler is a pretty good exchange last I checked.
Oh yeah, for sure. Some seeds have all of the rewards displayed in that reward table that you saw. Some of them have question marks over some of them. So it depends upon what the seed actually has. All right, so Darkness grabbed their 4th character with Strago. Going to grab Fenrir and this dragon, which will drop a Valiant Knife here. Min looks like they are in Owzer's Mansion, so we'll get the Illumina at the end of this here. And we'll see where Dimar ends up going next. We have not seen any of Strago's checks other than Fanatic's Tower. We have not seen... who was the character that we just got? Setzer? Oh no, we did see 2 of Setzer's 3 checks.
Yeah, we only haven't seen Daryl's Tomb on that one here. We do, however, we have found a vanilla Katana Soul.
There's been a lot of vanilla in this seed so far, between bosses and whatnot.
Now, the fun thing with Katana Soul, and I'm gonna guess that Mog does not have a Noise Blaster to him there. If you do have a Noise Blaster or other ways to confuse Katana Soul, there is a chance that he will just decide to use his Slayer Edge special on himself and completely eliminate himself. He's not vulnerable to your doom, but he's vulnerable to his doom, apparently.
All right, well, here is the first big speed bump of the seed for Fiery Blizzard, running into Magi Master, Floating Continent number 2. Use the Thunder Rod to open, so did quad 9's damage, but Magi Master will put up a wall change to make him resistant to only 1, resistant to 6 elements, weak to 1, and then absorbs 1. Thankfully, he found some non-elemental damage in the form of the 7 flush there in order to cut through that magical wall that he's got, and we're moving on to the next step here.
Yeah, it was either that or a slow death through that drill, which also does pierce defense. And does hit, as Magic Master does have quite a bit of physical evade going along with that, unless you have an offering, which guarantees those hits. But quad 9's 7 flush from Realm seems a much better way to go.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of our runners now with Fenrir. We do have, I think Dimar on one of the Espers that he got did end up getting Life 3. So we do have some forms of calmness protection out there. We know we got Doom for instant death. We're just looking for Mute at this point, I think, Night Dew, to round out Kefka bingo card here?
Yes. And honestly, columns protection, and that is great. But honestly, in terms of slowing down your ascent, going towards Final Kefka, oh no. Yeah, shutting up magic is usually one of the better things, yeah, that's a not good, not at all grind fight. There is the escape from Floating Continent is infested with level X magics here, 40, 50, and 60. They give no XP, they only give magic points, and you don't want to run into them.
No. No thanks, sir. So yeah, Min doing Ebbets Rock, which is another one of Strago's checks here, and we do get Welk at the end of the Floating Continent, so not a difficult boss. Gets one shot there by Edgar, who I think has been eating that experience egg all seed. We better check his cholesterol after this run. But we'll see what's at the end of the Floating Continent here. Fiery Blizzard is hoping for a character, but he could use either or, and it's going to be an Esper. So now he just needs one more character to unlock the go mode of Final Kefka.
Yeah, as it is, a 3 Magicite Floating Continent coming up with 6 is not a bad thing at all here. I believe the Strago was part of the... that's right, Strago was part of the Figaro Castle engine room here, but looks like he is parking to Daryl's tomb as well. So is gonna, yeah, we did see Life 3 at least on Alexander, as I saw him shifting through.
Yeah, so I think all of our runners will have that, well, a form of calmness protection, right? Life 3 is way slower than Fenrir, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, now mind you, good shields, Aegis shields, Paladin shields if you have them, Genji shields because it's physical, Illuminas, Ragnaroks, anything that gives you a good point of physical evade. Calmness is a physical attack, so barring any kind of actual defenses like Golem or Fenrir or anything like that, load up with as much evasion as you can and hope you don't get unlucky.
Yeah, so unlike in the vanilla game, we did fix the evade bug in Worlds Collide, along with a few other bugs, like Vanished Doom is no longer a viable strategy in Worlds Collide, things like that. Not that we are trying on purpose to make the game harder, but we tried to root out a lot of the cheese that you could sort of do in the vanilla game.
I've never actually tried it, but does that include Psycho Cyan?
Yes, so we did fix the retort glitch as well.
Okay.
And hey!
Has found his final character there as Locke is guarded by a statue here.
Oh boy.
But that statue is not going to like this Edgar.
No. We did also pull Umaro out of Ebbets Rock. So Min coming out of Ebbets Rock, Darkness going into Ebbets Rock, Dimar going into the engine room with Strago and the Vanilla Tentacles, and then Locke with Daryl's Tomb here. All of our runners grabbing characters at this check that they have now.
So I will say, question chat, with no Vanished Doom, how does one handle in Tangier? I will say Smoke Bomb.
Run away. Yeah. You could run away instantly because in Tangier doesn't go until you go. The only way to actually kill it is with non-elemental damage because it absorbs every element, and since it's vanished, you can't use physical attacks on it. So you have to use either Ultima or Meteor or Bahamut, or one of the other non-elemental things, Quasar, something like that.
Yeah, and even then,
but it's got a stupid high. It's got a stupid high amount of HP. It has, and the amount of XP it has is pretty minuscule. Actually, it's very odd. So it's never worth fighting.
When he wakes up to, in terms of his move set as well. Wow, what a choice!
I completely missed it. What was their
so there? Would you like a Minerva, or would you like a Minerva?
Well, if we want a second Minerva, unfortunately, get it, because the choice that we don't make there is actually behind Terra's Welk Gate check. But thankfully, we have a few people that can wear that Minerva, including Edgar. And since Edgar doesn't have a shield, he is a perfect candidate for that Minerva there.
Yeah, nullifying the big four of the primary elements. Yeah, that's especially what you want for your Minerva, where Fiery is headed right to Kefka's Tower. Interesting to see how he's going to load these up. Yeah, definitely Edgar in Group 3 there. Group 1 is the one that may only need to fight just one boss. But Group 3 is going to get the ambush, the guaranteed ambush from what would be the Inferno spot. It could potentially run up the middle, so Group 3 is usually the one you want to load down in terms of combat. I don't really see Fiery going after either of the two dragons here. Yeah, splitting the parties up as he has, this definitely looks like much more of a regular, we're going to just go up the tower and not play for any kind of skip.
All right, so Min does take out the dragon here on the way up to do the Umaro check. So we didn't really talk about it, but Umaro has just one check, and it's where you recruit them in the vanilla game. But you have to get past the Tritok spot in order to do that. Tritok is one of those not character-gated spots. However, it can only reward an Esper, an item up here. So Min is going to try and get this loop all in at once, and maybe they'll even go get the Valiant Knights. They're already up here, right?
Yeah, now, yeah, especially Dragon and two potential checks there. I do love me some Umaro checks, especially early. So definitely in Min's at 3-5 right now. Yeah, I absolutely go here. A good way to get a little bit more ahead as well.
Yeah, I believe when we went to go do the Lone Wolf check, because a couple of our runners did, you can peek what the reward for the Umaro check is, and it was not a character, so that means we're going to get an Esper, an item at Umaro's cave. So it makes sense for Min to go here, since they only have 3 of their 9 Espers so far. Darkness grabbing a 4th shiny stone there from that Dab and Yeti fight in the sky, and we'll see where they decide to go next. So as you can see, chat, we've got lots of different potential paths through the seed with the different characters that we have, right? We got Shrego at Engine Room, which led to Umaro, right? We also got Shadow at Kefka at Norsh that led to Setzer, which then led to Locke. And we don't know if there's a character behind Locke, but it certainly looks that way. Thunder Shield there for Min, bit unfortunate, but as you mentioned earlier, it's another piece of merch.
Yeah, French Vanilla Atma somewhere in KT there.
Oh god, that's not what you want to see.
Not sure if that is the Inferno spot or not. I think it is.
Yeah. Weaker against the main 3 elements of fire, ice, and thunder. Absorbs the other elements, including Pearl, hence why Edgar basically re-healed for the amount of damage that he damaged the boss, which is never fun.
So a question for you, actually. When going up Kefka's Tower, do you like to do, as Fiery has done, and load up Group 3, knowing that it's going to probably bulldoze through the center at the statues, Minerva at the Umaro check, by the by, in case we wanted more.
Dead World of Ruin Norsh.
Dead World of Ruin Norsh, unfortunate. Or do you like to kind of try to spread it out, maybe try to see about getting a ancillary character potentially online?
So think about Kefka's Tower, the mechanics of it, right? That you have one group that is going to fight one boss. You have another group that is going to fight one boss, and you have party number 3 when you go into the entrance that fights 3 bosses, right? So the bottleneck in Kefka's Tower is that third party that fights the 3 bosses. That's gonna the more time you save fighting those 3 bosses, the better off you are, because you're going to save more time overall. So I like to load 2 of my characters from the final party into the 3rd slot all the way on the right, and then I like to do 1 apiece in the other 2 slots, keeping in mind that you have to have characters that can deal with whatever boss you haven't seen yet. And That could be a Magi Master for those that didn't go to the Floating Continent. That could be a Goddess or Poltergeist for basically everybody else. So that's kind of how I like to approach my Kefka's Tower. Is I like to make sure that my bottleneck is covered with 2 characters in party number 3, but you also need to have a party or a composition that could deal with something nasty in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I think the thing I would not want to run into here, one of which we've already seen, is the tentacles are dead. But one of the other ones here, we have not seen Doomgaze, Chadius. We also have not seen Dream Stooges. I don't want to see Dream Stooges up here.
No. Yeah, especially if you don't have like an ice spell to take out Curly real fast. Mm-hmm. It looks like we're going Merton Strats there for Fiery Blizzard. That would not work against those Stooges, right? So bosses that can take a while, definitely that's one of them for sure.
Or Guardian throwing out some high power shrapnels up here.
Yeah. All right, so that was the second boss here, and here's Chad. This is another boss that I don't really like in Kefka's Tower. It takes a long time. Very high HP, but thankfully we have some fire magic to take care of this here.
Yeah, fire magic and a 2-handed Illumina. Those holy procs also doing some work here. At least Edgar did not get charmed there.
Yeah, we've got another Katana Soul fight here. So for those that don't know, if you use Muddle on Katana Soul, he may end up instant killing himself. You can't use Doom or any of your own spells, but he can instant kill himself. I think you mentioned that earlier. If you don't have that, he is also very weak to bio because he has an incredibly high amount of stamina, which means the bio sap tick damage will do a lot of damage as you go.
One thing I am seeing here is Dimar is definitely may not trust the normal magic there, but I've seen more than a few Bahamut's actually come out using that summoning for great effect.
Yeah, Bahamut is a very powerful summon. It is on the bit of a longer side with the animation cast. It's not an elemental, it ignores, it'll get the damage done. We did see Darkness saying no to the item there at Umaro's Cave. So it makes sense. We don't really need items at this point, 47 minutes into the seed. We need espers, we need characters. We need to get going because we kind of know what our builds are based on what we've got here.
Yeah, Minerva is a great piece of gear, but yeah, as you said, we are pretty much to the point where we know what we're doing. And as you say, that's a spicy meatball of a chicken there on the right or left side. I didn't see which one it was, but
yeah, so Fiery
rods, yeah.
Yeah, Fiery Blizzard decides that my best way through this fight is to throw rods at the problem here. Thankfully, if we can't get through this fight the first try, now we know this is here. We could potentially equip one of those flame shields that we found onto Shadow, and he could hopefully get some better luck. But this is why I mentioned you need to pick your party in Kefka's Tower to make sure you can deal with whatever the most difficult or annoying boss that you haven't found yet. And it looks like he's got that fire shield on, which is good.
Which is very good news, considering that Flare Star is coming up for 3,100. That Cyclonic, on the other hand, oh, we hope he doesn't punch after this. Oh, never mind, he's already down.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's Poltergeist, one of the more difficult bosses in the game there. Dimar, meanwhile, down in the Ancient Castle after grabbing their Strago with Throw from the engine room. And it looks like they're going to pick up their Fenrir right after this as well.
Now, we know that Fiery potentially has access to Light 3, but definitely did not go down into the Ancient Castle for that Fenrir, so does not have access.
Yeah, so his tier 3 will be a little longer than our other runners for sure. Setting that all up. All right, so Darkness.
Somebody
I was a little bit ahead there.
Somebody called the fish in chat. Oh, well, Lily Spikes did call fish and chips. Yes, here they are.
Yes, this is another example of an annoying boss to find in Kefka's Tower. So in Worlds Collide, the amount of time that Rhysopus appears is randomized between 5 and 55 seconds. It always feels like it's 55, but it is. I assure you, it is. It is one of those.
It is always 5 or 55. There is no in between. Either he shows up immediately, or you're wasting a ton of time.
Tritalk down there for Min, which was kind of French vanilla boss because that was the Norse battle fight. So they will get their shadow. So they'll be in a good spot for having their 6th character now. So now they're just looking for Espers. So Night 2, I don't know about you, but when I get either my 9th Esper or my 6th character, it tends to reprioritize what checks that I want to go after based on what I need. Is
yeah,
it the same for you?
You're trying to shut out checks there that, if you do have your 6 characters, you want to, again, prioritize stuff that isn't going to run you into other characters because, what use is Setzer when you need more Magicite, right?
Yeah. So we do see in Moogle Defense here, we do see a Mog dropping in, and since we already have Mog, that means that this is going to be an Esper or an item for Min. We already know that this is another Esper there. Meanwhile, Fiery Blizzard taking down Kefka's Tower very quickly for the amount of bosses that we've found in there that were pretty rough. We had Inferno, right? And we had Poltergeist in our tower climb, plus some annoyances like piranhas. So, chat, how long do you think it's going to take Fiery Blizzard to take down Kefka, our clown? I'm going to go with 8 minutes and 21 seconds. Get your guesses in chat now. Nightdew, what do you think?
I'm also going to go fairly low here. I'm going to call for a 755.
Oh, wow.
Here. We don't have Columns Protection. We don't have Mute, which is kind of my biggest hang-up. But he doesn't really have anything in the way of healing. And that's going to make this where he is going to be more offensive here because you have to deal with this just as fast here. So here we are. Head is weak to fire. Long arm is weak to instant death or break here. Bottom shorthand just kind of likes to punch, and he kind of likes to punch hard.
Yeah. We do have instant death. We do have life 3. And we do have Espers in the auction house. So that's what Dimar is doing now here with his pile of cash. We have life 2, which is my favorite healing spell. But yeah, so with the amount of damage that Edgar is just chucking out, I think that'll overcome some of the shortcomings maybe of this particular party composition.
Yeah, we are seeing Mog bust out the Regin just because there are 2 super annoying moves here that bottom tier likes to use. One of them is Slip Hit, and while you don't really think much of it, once you get up to tier 4 and fall in 1 hits, if you don't get ahead of it, that's almost death all the time for the seizured character there. But the other one being Reverse Polarity, which just moves everybody out from whatever row they're in into the other. Also, forgot about Zen Thief. Dimar cashes in on that Palador there, and I don't think anybody else has grabbed that.
Yeah, no, we found our Espers pretty good, but yes, it's nice to do the to Zen Thief. I didn't see what time Fiery Blizzard started, so I'm going to go ahead.
Another time, we may have to go back and retime that there.
Yeah, we'll go back and look in the VOD here while we talk about Tier 2, so I'll be right back.
Yep, Tier 2 Gloves leading off with Imp. There's 4 targets there. The middle one, Tools, can be doomed. The one in the front there, looking humanoid, is hit. It does exactly what it says on the tin there. Does counter death with 10 hits. Tiger on the bottom right is the most annoying one. At lower HP will bust out Doom Tusk and Northern Cross. Magic in the back does use a lot of interesting magic attacks, as you might figure. Is vulnerable to silence. And usually the most worrisome part of the Life 3 is annoying as well, but usually the thing you don't want to see off of Magic usually comes down to Muddle. Yeah,
Magic is just, a time waste. Their attacks aren't usually that bad, aside from, the Muddle that you mentioned. But their casting animations do take a very long amount of time.
Yeah, the big thing here is it looks like Tiger is already down. 10 hits just came out, so Hit is already down. Lots of offense here with these Merton casts. Yeah.
Quad 9 action.
You know how I said no healing? Merton's healing, right?
Yeah, Merton is healing. Well, one thing I did notice is that Fiery Blizzard does know his vanilla steals, and one of the things you can do is anything on tier 1 or tier 2, you could steal an elixir from. And you could also steal a mega elixir from Final Kefka, although since Fiery Blizzard did beat Magimaster on the Floating Continent, he will have that mega elixir in his hand already.
Yeah, with this damage here, those are death count. Those are potential death counters for Magic there. Oh, everybody's dead.
Yes.
We're moving up to tier 3 already.
Wow, that was two tiers in about
I don't
three and a half
think we're going to go for
minutes.
the Ragnarok here on tier 3, though.
No, we don't really need the Ragnarok. Yeah, so taking a look at, the start time, we got down 2 tiers in basically, 3 minutes and 45 seconds or so. Like that.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about my prediction now. Does
Tell
come
them
out
what they win, Night 2? No, I'm just kidding.
does come out W Wind is sitting on that Mega
boy.
Elixir. That W Wind was spicy.
Oh boy.
And
One X
let's
potion.
go with the X potion instead here. Oh no, that's gonna slow you down. Getting that Pearl proc after doing 9,800 with that swing there.
Part of the problem is that Girl will absorb. So we cannot use Merton to heal our party until we kill Girl. And here we go.
Yep.
Now this is better.
Now the question is, do we have Quick here, or are we going to get to the point here where under about 10,000 hit points, the bottom one will start countering with Medio, Train, and other things you don't want to be dealing with here. So I'm gonna guess we're gonna get at least one counter here after this Merton, or just not.
Or we're gonna get a lucky proc here, and we're gonna be so. Fiery Blizzard not even bothering with life 3, and unfortunately Realm goes down and Mod goes down. That's a double kill.
Wow.
Let's see if
no
Fiery
evasion
Blizzard can do it with 2.
Now keeping that Edgar around is probably still enough. Gonna slow this down just a little bit further though. I don't think either of the characters coming in, they can still throw rods, they can still break shields, at least before Goner comes and wipes them out too, but or Setzer's just already dead.
Yeah, so the final Kefka fight here, it's going to be basically 62-ish thousand HP. He will cast Fallen 1 on his first turn if he doesn't get hit with 30,000 damage. If he does, then we'll see him go into the Goner charge, which is where he doesn't do counters. Nope, we do get the Fallen 1 here. Nice use of our Mega Elixir.
Yeah, that's okay. Lock and throw those two, yes.
Oh, there was an Illumina in Fnatic's tower as well, on one of the chests on the way up. All right, there is the Hyperdrive counter, so now we're under 30,000 HP for Kefka, and now we're charging for Goner, which means that we can do as much damage as we want, and he won't counterattack, but I believe we're going to get a Goner off here.
Yeah, I think we needed to get a Illumina proc to potentially dodge that counter. However, we do have Edgar queuing up one more hit, and I do believe if we're counting damage correctly, that should do it here. Oh, speaking of more Minervas, there's another one on top of Fnatic's tower.
Oh, and there we go. That is the Boom Shaka Pow. Time stops at the first flash of Kefka. The sub 60 minute 59:33. Get your GGs in the chat for Fiery Blizzard there. Incredible. Very well done. Very well played.
Yep. Talking with Fiery a lot. One of the players I do play with quite a bit. Yeah, that's kind of expected out of a seed of this power. But then again, anything under sub hour is just just nuts as we begin with. Guardian is guarding the removal of that Minerva from the top of the next tower.
Ew, that's
and we are
disgusting.
joined by Fiery Blizzard. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Casual sub hour, no big deal.
Seed kind of said, here's your things, go kill things.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your strategy for sort of the Moogle Cup flags, with having access to a little more power and some other interesting things in the shop here. As we know, you saw the Super Balls, so that sort of altered your strategy a bit, right?
A little bit. I will say from a Moogle Cup perspective, and I think if you talk to people who've been playing for a little bit longer, cheap rods are a godsend. Super Bowls kind of give you a different direction in terms of maybe kill dragons a bit earlier. It's just when shops are that powerful, there's really no... there are occasionally seeds in which you don't find rods in a shop, and that has happened a couple of times, but otherwise, it basically means that you don't have to take grind fights, because your power rods are just so good in this game, and then Super Balls even more so, especially early on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for a lot of us, it's go find a shop that gives you your power and just go kill things, and those things are either going to be bosses or dragons at the end of the day. Super Balls, I feel like, leads more towards dragons, whereas rods can go either way. So that was really it. It was a bit awkward because I thought I was about done, even though I hadn't really found rods. And then I found the eggs in Zen, and then found them again in Albrook. And I'm like, I have no way to get 60,000 GP unless I sell this shield. And I didn't particularly want to do that. And then, of course, there was a free egg in Owzers, which was kind of funny. Because I was continually going to myself, it's like, how am I getting 60,000 GP in this seed right now? And eventually I was like, you know what, I'm just going to grab the Super Balls, and whatever comes out from there will happen. I mean, Realm with 53 magic starting out in slots. I will say that maybe one of the few times I've seen quad 9s on 7 flush. So that's always a treat.
Yeah, that was wild with that Magic Master fight there.
Yeah, real quick, we have found the other Esper for Calmness Protection after doing quite a lot of cardio there, as Golem was our reward for Fanatic's Tower.
Yeah, I got to the end of where I was about to climb up Kefka. I was like, I have Phantom, but I also have way too much power that I legitimately don't care if 2 people go down, because there's almost no way I'm wiping the final Kefka with the amount of firepower I have. And it's just gonna, especially with Phantom being that way and not having Quick, there was no way to guarantee I was gonna get a good Calmness Protection off. I'm just like, I felt like it was a waste of time to even try.
Yeah, casting Life 3 on your whole party would have slowed you down there, right?
I don't even think I mean, I saw Life 3 on an Esper. I don't think I learned it. I didn't care. The best thing about this seed routing-wise, other than the fact that I routed this really well for what it gave me, even though I didn't buy the Zen Esper, I was debating whether or not to go to Weapon Shop and lock. I'm just like, I just want there to be an Elemental Shield or a Minerva there, so I can give it to Edgar if I don't have to put a Rage Ring on, so I can just spam Murden. And so seeing double Minerva there, and then also seeing that Edgar could wear it, I'm just like, let's go. Just drastically improves tier 2.
Yeah, you totally love to see your that you're the person that you really want to use the thing that you just got. Yeah, there were several different kind of pathways through this seed here. We had Strago in the engine room with Umaro at Ebbett's Rock. So that was sort of one path that you could choose to get your requirements, whereas you went with the Shadow Floating Continent path in order to get your Espers, because I think that's what a lot of our runners are desperately looking for now, are those shiny stones.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because especially as you're coming on new to the game, knowing what checks can give you exactly as per character items. I think floating continent has a lot of value, especially when you have as much power as you do, and the bosses are just not going to take that long. Having 2 guaranteed pieces of progression, I went up there actually looking for a character, but coming away with 3 espers was also very nice. And I was sitting at 5-6 at the time, so I'm like, I know Zen's an esper, so if I end up getting like the miracle floating continent of a character and 2 espers, I go to Zen and I'm done. So it just found myself in a really good place to go and do floating continent.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Floating continent, me and my mentee have been discussing the merits of floating continent of, when is a good time to go do it? The answer is the opposite of what you actually do in the seed.
Generally. I thought it was... my take on floating continent is either you do it really early or you do it where it can basically give you go mode. Mm-hmm. I don't like it as sort of a mid-game check, but if you're looking... Or if you're really just desperate for a character and all the other checks are terrible, like if you're facing MTech 3 versus floating continent for character 5, there is no reason to go through all of MTech when you can go floating continent for 2 chances.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So a couple things like that. Unfortunately for Glue there, I see him on the bottom right. My route did not get me to Umaro, so the only Umaro sighting was me killing Umaro at the sky.
I believe Darkness is still also running that Umaro there, and it's about to get the decision of Minerva here.
Beautiful decision.
Very fun. So Night Dude, do you have any other questions for Fiery Blizzard?
No, I think you actually covered most of it there. I mean, in terms of exactly what we were doing in terms of clearing that seed, I'm definitely more interested to see if Darkness runs into Character 9 before Esper 9 here at this point, but just well played, period.
Did Darkness check Auction House already?
Yes. There was a glowing stone available in Auction House. I'm not sure if I haven't seen any of them actually pull the Esper out of there. I know Min was just there, but ran into the 50k item a couple times and reset out. It is now going to Burning House.
Yeah, it's one of those things I feel also, when you're newer, you generally like to stay away from certain checks. But things that you can just peek immediately and know what it is are so, are nice. I kind of went against that. I didn't even bother checking Engine Room, and that was actually based because of where I was on the map. I was just like, I'm closer to Grave. Let's just go there.
I mean, that's definitely what I've used to, roll up a check there. It'd be like, well, I could go elsewhere here, but I just finished up Mount Zozo, and I've got a realm. Mauser's Mansion is right there.
Yeah, the other thing that I know can be disagreed with a lot by people, but something that I sort of stick to on a lot of these higher powered dead check or basically seeds in which you have really good rewards for dead checks that include an offering. I generally don't open any monsters in the box at all. Like, I figure if I find an offering, that's great, but most of the time, it's not going to make too much of a difference, and it's just going to waste time.
The only thing you're really interested in at that point is the reward for Gigantos at that point, so yeah.
Yeah, and EXP in Moogle Cup is generally not a problem.
Right.
With the higher EXP reward. Changes a lot in Ultras League, but Moogle Cup is a flag set that I find it tries to give you a lot of power, get you a lot more comfortable with the checks, maybe teaches you how to weight trick a couple times, especially in Final in Kefka climbs. But other than that, a lot of it can be summed up as find your power and go kill things as quickly as possible. And you don't need to menu as much as you really think you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once you have that, once you had your Illumina Gauntlet, Minerva, Edgar, you weren't touching his menu anytime after that.
I think it was like switching around things for Murden, because I'm like, this will speed it up slightly, and if I know exactly what espers I'm switching, menuing is very quick. It's like maybe like 5 to 10 seconds at most. But otherwise, if I don't know what I'm doing in a menu, I just don't want to go in there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how our Moogles go through the Moogle Cup as it goes on, and everyone gets a lot better through the season. So that's always fun to watch.
Yeah,
So I'll be
Min
looking
is our
forward to
next
seeing all of them.
rescreen runner here into KT. Might have forgotten that Moogle Charm. None of us have ever done that, right?
No, yeah.
No.
Does run away from that landworm just fine. DMAR getting the bad news about the escape from Floating Continent because those are still level X magics. Darkness has character skip there. Has 9 characters. Didn't see where that 9th character actually
Celeste was in South Figaro Cave.
Okay.
Of course.
It is doing cardio. Will get that 9th Esper here from the Fanatics Tower after a Guardian fight. Might stop by, hit that dragon, get another Lumina.
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate because Yeti actually was double. Tritalk and Umaro Spot were both items. So finding the Espers in the seed, especially if you found Umaro, became quite difficult, right? Because at that point, it's very hard to go to Floating Continent after, you've done all this other stuff, right?
Oh yeah, you point me at Umaro checks and Floating Continent, and I'll probably take Umaro checks 99 times out of 100 unless my situation says otherwise. Yes.
Yeah, I will say the one other thing I was happy with was the having a stack of Thunder Rods left over for when Pulte showed up, because otherwise that would have been incredibly awkward.
Yeah, what was going to be this? Did Shadow, could he use the Atma weapon or the Valiant knife?
I didn't even pick up the Valiant knife.
Okay.
He couldn't use the Atma weapon.
The Ancient Castle Dragon was where we got one, as well as the Mog stuff.
Yeah, couldn't use the Atma weapon. I know that. Don't know if he could use the Illumina, but if you have rods left over, it can be a very good solution to things that have incredibly high magic defense. Yeah, I mean, I had a Dragon Horn and Dragon Boots, and then got another Dragon Horn in the Validation chest, so I guess I could have jumped. I mean, look, several of us are in the War of the Magi or War and Triad flag sets, and I think several of us have jumped Pulte to death a number of times at level 50 rather than level 40, so it could have been worse. I know we could. Actually, no. I got the Aura Lance from Pulte. I have no idea what my solution would have been. Let's put it that way.
It would have been try harder.
I would have figured something out.
Or would you? How long would it have been before you warp out and walk back in the tower with your full party?
That's a good question. I think with what I had. That would have been the smarter play, because the best elemental spell that I had that wasn't fire related was Bolt 2. And yes, I can heal from Pulte's counters, but he does get non-elemental attacks eventually.
Right. Yeah.
So that would have just been a waste of, I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes to just die at the end. So, I would like to say I would have probably reset the tower pretty quickly, but knowing me, I'd probably be pretty stubborn about it.
So yeah, we've got a couple of other finishes. Glue finish, Sudgies, the Frog finish. They are more of, mentor level runners. We still have our 3 Moogles outstanding that you see on the screen. What was your official time here? 59:33. So that was a 7 minute and 6 second. No. 7 minute and 1 second final Kafka. Okay. So that was really fast.
I blame the double calmness hitting both Rum and Mog. Characters 2 and 3 in terms of who I didn't want to go down, but just unfortunately taking a goner there, I don't think I could have gotten away with it. So wasn't in danger of dying, but I figured I was eating a goner with that.
Yeah,
Alright,
Min
so-
is
sorry,
in
go
the
ahead.
first of the Guardian fight position here. Darkness just got entrance into KT, but with 9 characters does have access to skip, so I think we're going to have a little bit of a race there.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely. It's going to come down, I think, to... Well, Pulte, I think, is going to be a big question.
Right.
The statues at statues is always a who has the better lane setup. And then it's going to be who can handle the Kefka climb better. Right? I mean, that's where you can gain and lose a lot of time.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think anybody... Now, I do believe they all have columnist protection for Tier 3. I don't think anybody has pulled a way to shut up magic.
No, I didn't. I certainly didn't have any. I was hoping Sour Breath would be on Edgar at the beginning. I didn't see any.
Mhm.
Or Sour Mouth,
Yeah. Bad breath. Whatever it's called.
whatever it's called.
Yeah, we use the SNES version of the game, so that's why we usually use those sort of pieces of terminology there. Yeah, so Dmore is approaching, I think, Esper skip. They don't have a tracker, so they're either at 10 or 11 Espers. I don't know if I might have missed one or two here, but if they're going to get their whatever Esper here. What characters do they need? Do they need to go to Daryl's? They need to go to Daryl's too, I
Daryl's 2
think,
would get Locke. Evet's Rock would get Umara. I don't think either one of those have been recruited
Mhm.
on Damar's side here.
Well, then you'd also have Shadow
we don't-
at Velt Cave, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is required to get the lock.
Oh, right. We don't have Setzer yet, so Setzer's at Velt. So we can't get Locke. So we either need Setzer at Velt Cave or Umaro at the other place, Evet's Rock. Go over to that side of the world, please.
Choose the Peekable over the RNG cave.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody likes that treasure chest anyway.
All right, so Darkness here. You see the power of the Kefka Tower skip. He's now at the statues and does see Poltergeist. So one of the interesting things here is that Darkness could say, okay, I know this is here. Let me reform my party and figure out how I can kill this thing.
Yeah, does have a Genji Glove Illumina Atma. That should at least cover the offense here. Yeah, especially as that blaster doesn't hit Edgar.
Yeah, and unfortunately did grab my drill. So the Illumina is not actually that great against Poltergeist due to his very high physical defense. Those procs are very nice, though. The Atma weapon is basically the treasure here of this fight because it will ignore the physical defense of Poltergeist.
Yeah, Min also running into it, but I believe does have double Mog. Yeti surviving with 2 hit points, as Yetis do, apparently. And at least throws in 1 tackle attack there to get some damage in.
Yeah, give a little love tap to our resident spicy chicken. Bunch of yucky bosses on screen. Guardian at the top of Fanatic's Tower is gross.
Yeah, no, there are a couple bosses that are worse, but Guardian is probably in the top 5.
Yeah,
Not for your party with the Thunder.
Stooges, but we did finally see that.
No. I mean, I didn't reset and check, but I got to imagine Realm had 115 magic by the end there. Had to have around that much to do quad 9s against Magic Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, when 7 Flush does quad 9s, that magic power.
Yeah, just a little silly.
Yep.
All right, so Min has 1 more boss, I think, and Darkness is 3. So it's about, execution here in Kefka's Tower. Who can get through these bosses faster than who?
Yeah, Darkness is cleaning up center lane. I think Min has completed center lane already here.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, Darkness still has to get through Chad after this, and Fish.
A fan favorite of Kefka Tower bosses, the Piranhas.
It really is.
There's also Vanilla Tentacles in Engine Room, so that was another boss that we Thankfully, didn't have to deal with Kefka's Tower, because that is one of the more annoying bosses to deal with the tower. And I believe one of our runners saw Stooges somewhere.
Well, yeah, I have access to Ultima, yes.
So the biggest thing about fish is you want to limit the time that you're in the menu, because the timer will stop if you're in the menu. And a lot of times I find it just better to essentially hold A and hit fight. And just limit the amount of time that the timer is paused. Because the fish are going down in one hit. You could basically have nothing equipped and it wouldn't matter.
Alright, so there's another Esper for Dimar. I did not see the skip message pull up, so that must be, I must actually be counting them correctly. That is their 11th Esper, because they were the only other ones that went to floating you, Fiery Blizzard, and it looks like they're making the Burning House choice.
Yeah, it's Burning House. That'll be 12 Espers, I believe.
No.
Go to North, go to Evans.
There we go. Now we're getting our room.
No, okay. But I would figure that's also got to be pretty close. I mean, not running a tracker, they've got to be pretty close to 22 checks as well there, so...
Oh, yeah. Well, Fnatic's Tower itself is 3 checks, right? So that's already a decent way towards your skip.
All right, Min is on the buttons at 121.35, and Darkness has the right side fish to go through still.
Yeah, it seemed like it rolled about 45 or so seconds on fish. It was pretty long.
Yeah. It always feels even longer when it's in Kefka's Tower, because you're like, come on, gotta get to...
Gives you time to strategize what you want in your party at the end and what other equipment you have to move around, if any. And then once you're done thinking about that, then you're kind of like, why hasn't it shown up yet?
So we did find a throw Strago in Engine Room. Would you have put that Strago into your party in place of anyone, Fiery Blizzard, or do you think your party would have been good as is?
It would have depended on when I got Strago. After Floating Continent, no. Everyone already had Fire 3. There was a significant amount of magic power on everybody. If I got throw Strago as character 4, Strago's not leaving my party. But certainly after Floating Continent, if I found that Strago, I'm not even looking at his ability.
By the looks of Dimar's Edgar there, it does look like Edgar was capable of using the VKs.
Nice. Yeah, that's always the challenge with the Valiant Knife, is that it's arguably the best weapon in the game in terms of damage potential. However, its equipability is suspect, right? Because it's only lock in the vanilla game, and then a chance afterwards. Whereas some of the other weapons, like the Atma weapon, Illumina Ragnarok, they have a bigger equipable item pool.
Yeah, it didn't come up this seed, I don't think, but to anyone who is watching who hasn't really looked around in terms of equip pools, the Atma weapon is great. You have you have your characters that can wield it naturally in vanilla. The exception is if those characters have rage. The game, unless it's Go-Go, the game will not allow you to equip the Atma weapon, and you cannot equip an Atma weapon using a merit award either. So a couple things to keep in mind on that side.
All right,
something nice to get Moogles to, newer players to see. Because they may be surprised the first couple times they see it and like, wait, why can't my Edgar equip an ammo weapon?
Yeah. There's a lot of little nuances to this game, and sometimes you don't realize how much information you've retained until you try and teach others. I know that sometimes, I've been in the past with my Moogles, I try to, ease them in, and there have definitely been times when my Moogle's been like, hey, I can't absorb all of this information you're telling me, so let's speak in generic terms, and we'll deal with the exceptions and then the exceptions to the exception, at a later time.
Yep. That's what restreaming is for. They can listen to the commentary anytime they want.
Oh, for sure. Yep. All
Got
right.
some
I
bolts
don't
here.
think we found mute anywhere in Seed, even based on the stuff that we've gotten. It looks
Yeah,
like Dmar is.
Power mouth, no siren. But plenty of power, as I said. Is focusing on tools first. It's kind of that one weird thing where, I'll try to instant death it there, but his tools really. Sometimes it's like, do I really want to focus fire tools here?
I guess it depends, right? If you would like to take down a target very quickly, Tools has, I believe, the lowest amount of HP in this tier. That's something I'm going to have to go look up now before I say something that's wrong.
I think it's 25,000 or something like that. It is the lowest.
Because there are times when in this tier especially, things can get out of control very fast, and sometimes you have to kill a boss versus get your party back up, right? And that's kind of like the weird counterintuitive thing about this part of the boss is that since there's 4 targets, if you heal your party, right, or get somebody up, you've just lost 2 turns, but the enemies will have 4 turns or whatever the however many it is.
It comes down to that whole thing where I get that, and it's another thing where you kind of have to teach people sometimes, where it's the whole, well, I have like 2 party members on low hit points and 2 down, and it's, well, I could use a Phoenix down, everybody dies in the next big AoE, or I actually heal what I have, and sometimes it's just knowing when to actually top people off as opposed to trying to just pick everybody up at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Hit has 28,000 HP, Tiger has 30, Tools is 24, and Magic is 41. So that was, I didn't lie. That was the lowest amount of HP. I wonder if Dmar is close to check skip, because they just did Atma and the Dragon. Usually that only happens if you're close to check skip.
Yep.
That is a Yeti with a big stick.
Yeah, so I am not an Umaro person. And one of the reasons why is because Umaro with Ragnarok or Illumina, since Umaro doesn't have any MP to use, he can't actually crit with either of those weapons. So you're basically leaving twice as much damage on the table with Yeti using a sword versus, Edgar or someone else using it. Right, so just keep that in mind when making your Umaro builds. That, if you've got nobody else to use the Illumina or Atma weapon, or rather Ragnarok, then fine. But I'd rather find a home for it on someone who can actually do a crit with that particular weapon.
Speaking of, crits and procs and all that fun stuff here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then deciding to take the.
Edgar's like, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry. Here's your health back.
I was talking about mid and getting 2 procs on the double Lu here.
Oh.
Tier 3.
No. Yeah, I was referring to your Atma fight.
Yeah. I knew it was gonna happen. Everyone does. You play this game long enough, you know exactly what it's gonna proc.
All right, so out comes the train here. So we've got to figure out what exactly we want to do. As we see a swing and a miss there. As we mentioned, we did fix the evade bug, which means that the blind or dark status actually means something here in Worlds Collide. And at this point, we're looking for recovery. And what I usually tell my Moogle is at the beginning of Tier 3, determine what is your highest damage output spell. And use that as soon as you see train or media or whatever. And that will get you to that calmness as fast as possible, where unlike in Fiery Blizzard's party, we got a couple of blocks there and we're moving on to Kefka.
Yeah, even rods are good for that. Breaking the shield, there's no problem with that on Tier 3. I agree with you. Once you see the meteor and trains coming out, when you start getting double and triple turns on sleep, you just want to get through that as quickly as possible. If you have to reset up because you got some unfortunate RNG, then you can Revivify and heal 5,000 damage. But in general, just getting out of that tier is more important. And then
Oh,
you can
for sure.
figure out how to handle Kefka. Final Kefka is, while it can end a run, it's the most controlled portion of the fight.
Yeah, it's one target versus multiple here, right? But it can go sideways rather fast if you do too much damage. So we'll have to. It's kind of a dance of put your foot on the gas, no wait, put your foot on the brake now and slow down. Countered, right? It's one of those whiplash type of fights.
Or why is Kefka not gunner charging yet? As you like anti-countered him or something, or he got the counter and it reset his ATB and you're just sitting there for like 20 seconds.
Bog casually breaking the damage cap there with the glove. Is that going to do it? No. So we are going to see Goner, and Kefka is in counterattack position. So if Min doesn't kill Kefka on this next swing, he's going to have to be careful for counters. Particularly the ultimate counter is the one that we're looking out for. Edgar would survive it, but the rest of his party does not. But it does not matter. Get your GGs up in chat for Min. Finishing off, official race time was 1:31.19. Really nicely done.
I do want to clarify a little bit on the countering for Kefka, because I think it is important. Kefka can only counter attacks after he's done one action after Goner. So you have until Kefka does normally Revenger or Hyperdrive or Havoc Wing to go ahead and try to kill him. Once he does that first attack, then he goes into his counter script again. So you get like one full round.
All right, so Darkness here on Tier 3. I believe they are going to have access to Golem. Yep. So where would Golem was Golem Fanatics Tower?
Yes.
No, Burning House.
No, Golem was Fanatics. Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Burning House was an Esper, but I cannot recall which one it was.
Maybe?
Alright, so here comes Meteo. So now we have to use our best attack. And sometimes our best attack is just a spell like Ultima. And in that case, you have to remember if you get hit with Train, you have to clear out the status first and then use your spell. So it might actually be you need to take 2 actions to do your strongest attack.
She did not appreciate those quad VK swings. Thankfully, the Golem was up and ready there.
I mean, I wouldn't appreciate getting hit by a Valiant Knife 4 times.
No. Alright, so Realm is out, Umaro is in, and hold the wheel. We're going up against Final Kefka here.
The ultimate, can you control your damage, or will you Maribus enough that it doesn't matter? Umaro is ready to rumble.
I mean, that's a wing edge Umaro. You can kind of control the damage there. Maybe.
Just full on send it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Darkness's damage is off the charts here. So didn't even get Goner this time, and Umaro with the crit.
I actually thought there was a chance that Umaro crit would have actually killed.
Yeah,
wow.
I think Darkness did wander into ultimate counter territory and didn't get it. I think Strago and Edgar would have survived it anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, ultimate split damage, so certainly.
Alright, so let's see how Dimar deals with our Fuego chicken here.
Does seem to have decent Well, actually, I'm not sure on the Flare Star protection just yet. Oh no, that Yeti did not like that. He does have a few ice rods ready to go, though.
Yep.
Speaking things of Yeti doesn't like, we have Darkness join. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on, Darkness? How are we doing?
I'm doing good. That was it was a very weird seed for like checks and stuff. It was a lot of like slow checks, and I probably could have routed it much better, but at least I had power, so it made Final Kefka pretty easy. And Yeti came and clutched at the end, even though I kept kicking him out.
Yeah, there were your Final Kefka went by super duper quickly there, so it was really nice to see. And you got to showcase the power of the Kefka Tower skip as Mog with. Oh my goodness, gets it done.
That is the only hit point you need right there.
Yeah, one more than zero. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your strategy with this seed and how sad you felt when the World of Ruin Norsh was 2 items instead of 2 espers.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, who's this? God, it feels so long ago. The start of the seed.
It was Edgar and Realm and Mog.
Yes. So, yeah, I wanted to do, obviously get my shopping done. I saw obviously a ton of expensive things like the EXP eggs, the cat hood. What else was there? There was something else that was expensive and good.
Thunder Shields. Super Balls.
There's a Genji glove I could have got. Oh, and offering.
Genji
I saw
glove.
offering later.
Yeah, that's right. In Jador,
yeah. But yeah, so I just tried to, my thought was just to get, go to Jador, get my levels, and then get the dragon to get a few more levels, because I really don't like going there at level 3s, but I didn't even find balls or rods anyway, really, so it wouldn't have, but I still don't like, because I mean, at level 3, you can get wiped by like, whatever, bunch of stuff when you're that low HP, so I like to get a few levels first, then take a dragon on, and then just sort of it took me a while to get my 4th character, and there were just a lot of like not fun checks I could have done, like Burning House, and then like Kefka and Arsh and Lone Wolf and stuff takes a while, and Ancient Castle also takes a while. It's like just lots of slow, annoying checks. And most of them gave me like espers. Sorry.
Yeah, thankfully with at least the Edgar stuff, you could peek to see, hey, am I getting a character at least up front, right? Which you did see Stray go, so you were like, all right, let's go do this now, because you were, I think, the runner that had 3 characters for the longest throughout the seed, but you certainly caught up, towards the back end of the seed with the 4 characters that you had.
Yeah, and even then, Stray goes a bunch of very slow checks with with Magic, or Fanatic's Tower and Burning House and Ebbett's Rock. They're all. Oh, I had really good Ebbett's Rock luck, which is nice.
Cherish it, my friend. So yeah, any other questions you have, Night Dew, for Darkness here?
I mean, at what point? I know you are one of the ones. At what point were you deciding that, okay, I've got 7, I've got 8, am I kind of going to go out of my way here now to pick up that 9th character for Skip, or was that a plan you were going for before that?
Yeah, I wasn't really like planning to get Skip. It was just more sort of like, I don't know, if I see a character, I'll pick it up, because like, and also the characters I got were, had fast checks like Setzer and Locke, so it was more incentive for me to, take them. And then, yeah, but unfortunately, Locke was double dead, which sucked. So I got Solace, but
right.
I had already peaked Fanatics at that point, and it felt like, even though it's slower, it was better to not take the risk of Magitech being double dead. So I just went to Fanatics and got out of the way. Because yeah, the Solace was my skip, I believe. Yeah. Although even if I didn't get Solace, I had 22 checks by the end. So.
Okay, yeah, that's. I knew you all were close at that point in time.
Yeah.
There, especially after Fanatics.
Yeah, so there were, Kefka's Tower had a bit of a an interesting set of bosses between the Piranhas that wasted time, Chatternook, which could have been an issue that Dmar has gone against now, and then Poltergeist. Sort of, did you have a strategy behind the way you set your party up in Kefka's Tower to make sure that bad things wouldn't happen?
Yeah, I was a bit worried about Strago and Realm, since basically all their damage was fire damage. I mean, I guess I had Bahamut in reserve, so I could have gone with that, but I felt like they were the most like ones I didn't want to like run into Poltergeist, especially. That would have been pretty bad. So I kept them together, and thankfully that lane was pretty easy, and Edgar was my best character, so he made quick work of that. And also the 9 characters helped me dodge
a
the
lot of
stop.
mileage out of that Bahamut summon there. We did see you call on it more than a few times there, to good effect, actually.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Realm died on tier 3, but that brought Yeti out, and Yeti could finish the job.
Right. And I believe that should be the final button there for Dmar. Should be heading into the Kefka fight here shortly, I believe. At least I'm pretty sure I saw Fish and Chicken on the Fish and Chicken. Huh? That's a tower. Oop. Okay, yeah, we are heading to buttons here very shortly. Actually, question for Schwantz here. How do you usually take at this point? How do you keep yourself from forgetting to rearrange your things in before taking that final Kefka fight?
Yeah, I usually, I have it in my muscle memory to do it right after I kill the boss. Like, I try to keep my menuing to a minimum, which means if I'm on a save point, that's where I do everything. That's where I equip my stuff. That's where I, shuffle my espers around. If I have to throw like a build over to another party, then I'll kind of do what Dmar just did and not step on the switch for that particular lane, so that I know that, oh, hey, I have some more work to do after this other fight, right? So,
right.
We are joined finally after some technical difficulties here with Min. So, Min, welcome in. Congrats on that finish.
Thank you.
Night 2, I think your microphone is getting all Johnny 5 from...
apologies.
Oh, there we go. You're good.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about your run, sort of like what your thought process was in this particular scene.
I kind of just do what I always do. I like to loot a lot super early on. We didn't really have great starting checks. I mean, there's that Edgar, obviously, but like otherwise there wasn't a whole lot to consider early on, so I kind of just wanted to make sure I got a lot of stuff to kill things fast. Getting that double aluminum was a lot of fun too.
Moogle swinging for the fences for sure. Yeah, so I believe you went up to get I think you were the first runner, perhaps, that went up to the top of Narsh there.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was Darkness. It was one of you two on the top of the screen here. I don't remember.
I felt like I did it really late.
Yeah.
It was a level 3 Kaden, I believe what he's talking about there, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was the Esper Mountain, yeah. So, running up against Funbaba, the very long fight. So, the lesson is make sure you get off a level 3 before you take a boss.
Yeah.
Thing, right?
That was a little rough. Very slow. I will not be trying that again at level 3.
Hey, listen. With Worlds Collide, I find that the best way to learn things is the hard way. It's also the worst way to learn things, too.
Oh, definitely. If there's a time for it to happen, it's better for it to be now.
Yeah, for sure.
The age-old randomizer of, I can, but should I?
Yes. That's the answer.
Yeah, so as you were getting closer towards the end of your seed there, were you like close to considering going for like a skip, or were you just happy that you finally got
I thought
your
about
Espers?
it. I thought about it. I was like, we're at 20 on my last Esper, so I'm like, I could do 2, but there wasn't really like, I guess like the fastest 2 checks I think I could have done were like the first 2 of Floating Continent. I didn't want to commit to that. I was like, I'm strong enough that going up the tower isn't like that big of a deal compared to the time I would waste checking something else.
Yeah.
I did think about it for a second.
Yeah, I think you can do so. If you took your whole party of 4 and put them in like the second slot, you could fight like the Atmos spot and the dragon, and that's your 2 checks. Then you can warp back out for skip.
Yeah, I did. I thought about it. I was like, Kafka's Tower is like, it's no like Temple of Fiends. It's no like Ganon's Tower. It's so much like more bearable to just run straight through it.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. So yeah, Night Dude, you have questions for Min while we have them here?
Oh, let's see here. Yeah, on that one, not so much. You covered the Fumbaba there, covered the skip. Actually covered just about everything I was going to ask there, so...
No problem.
Yeah.
So I'll open it up to both of you. We'll go with Darkness first. What is one thing that you are actively working with your mentor in the Moogle Cup on, and something you want to hope to improve as you start to finally do your matches here? Because the group phase has just kicked off.
Yep.
Yep.
So I guess I think the biggest thing I need to work on is like just sort of like my routing and just like not forgetting stuff and just getting faster, obviously, but just like menuing and just like knowing, just sort of getting it all down and like knowing what I have to do and like just sort of being able to think more ahead and not worry about what I'm doing in the moment, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Min, same question for you. What is something you're actively working on with your mentor and hope to continue to improve, as we continue on with the Moogle Cup here?
One thing I'm definitely going to talk to her about is being less stubborn. So I don't sit and Finbaba for 5 minutes. It's like I don't like to reset. I like to commit and get it done. Just do or die. And that's not always the right answer.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's worth sticking it out, and then other times, like, hey, I have Esper Mountain. It's like 5 seconds to get back here. Let's come back when I can, right? And I am also very stubborn, so I feel like,
dude, I was sitting there thinking, like, how much HP does this guy have? He should have died like 3 spells, 3 7 flushes ago.
No, yeah. So what's funny is, while you were fighting Funbaba, Fiery Blizzard stepped in and he had Super Balls, and Fiery Blizzard's first Super Ball was like 6,300 damage or something like that, and it didn't kill Funbaba. I'm like, oh god, Min is in for a rough ride here.
I'm jealous. I
was surprised.
Sounds on that one.
So yeah, one more question before we let you guys go. Min, you mentioned like late game dungeons and other games. So what other games have you been playing, and what's your background with, and how did you get into Worlds Collide?
I used to be a big FF1 player. I don't play it as much anymore, but I did play it quite a bit a few years back, and then I've dabbled in A Link to the Past. I've played a couple tournaments, but those are the big ones. This game, I just saw the Moogle Cup was starting up. I was like, this is a good opportunity for me to learn this game. I should just give it a shot.
Nice, awesome. And same question for you, Darkman.
I think the Final Fantasy game I know the best is Final Fantasy 12. That's definitely the one I have the most experience in. But I've also played a little bit of Final Fantasy 5. I've also played like Ori Randomizer, which is fun. And what else? Yeah, I think that's most of it.
right, so Dimar on the back of that Genji glove with double Valiant Knife Edgar, taking down Kefka super duper fast. So we'll get them in for an interview here. But yeah, thanks to both of you for allowing us to feature you on Restream. We can't have the Restreams without the runners, so I really appreciate you putting yourself out there and putting on a show for us. This was a really fun race to watch. Lots of drama unfolding between the different routes going on, because there was people going all over the place, and certain routes definitely led to dead ends. I mentioned the Narsh stuff with Yeti, right? So
yeah, that was a little sad. Where's that lock? I saw there was someone had a lock. I never even found him.
He was in
Daryl's tomb. Yes,
Daryl's tomb. Yeah.
Daryl's tomb.
yeah,
That
and
would
Setzer
explain
was
it.
in Belt Cave.
I reset out of the Setzer.
Yeah, because you already had.
I had 6, so I was like, I don't need him.
Yeah, so
Had
the
6.
interesting thing about Setzer, right, is even if you have 6 characters and you're looking for more espers, the thing with Setzer is that his Search the Sky check is an esper item check. His Colingen In check is free, and the Daryl's Tomb check, you can kind of peek. It's not really a peek because you already went through the whole thing and you're at the very end, right? But I think if I was to find a character when I already have my character requirements, I think Setzer would be at the very, very top of that list, just because of how good his checks are for obtaining espers, right?
I thought about it, but like I only had like 3 espers at the time. I was like, I just really need espers.
No, that makes sense. Totally
Yeah,
makes sense.
I was closer when I got there. So, but yeah, it was like even though I'd already accidentally ran into Search the Skies, it was still like Colligan's free, and Daryl's Tomb is fairly quick, and I don't want to do Burning House or I think Floating Continent, which were basically the only 2 checks I have left. So I was like, okay, I'll take him, and then Locke came, and I was like, okay, that's 2 quick checks, I'll take him. And then Celis came, and then by that point, it was like, okay, I have character skip, I guess I'll take her.
I mean, I do find
Not
that
gonna
sets are
complain.
the harder ones to pass up, just because if I haven't been run into by the Doomgaze spot, I like cleaning the air of that, rather than him deciding, as I'm heading to KT, he's going to show up and delay me going there too. So
We are also joined by Dimar, GG's D. Oh. And he's gone. Okay, hold on.
And he's gone.
And he's back. And he's back. Dimar, congratulations
Thank you.
on the finish. GG's there. So tell us a little bit about your strategy here that we saw for what you wanted to do with this particular seed. You bought the Super Balls very early. You spent some money on about 5 of them there, and then that got you through the early game here.
When I saw that Mog start, the thing that kind of went into my mindset is I'm going to change my rotation on the opening.
Mhm.
So I skipped Narsh and went and did the rest of my looting, and I was like, okay, I have Mog, so I'm going to come back to Narsh, do the Lone Wolf check, and segue that straight into both the Kaodin check and the Moogle defense check. And I was trying to just go for volume.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw those Super Balls, I was like, okay, I can use this to carry. I can use the Kefka and Narsh to get my early grinds in. So I kind of use that as a way to gamble on getting a fast grind right out the gate.
Yeah, that totally made sense, and it certainly paid off, because then you also got Shadow very early. I think you were the first runner that got Shadow here, and you also knew that there was a Valiant Knife at Mog's other check, which you went back for later on, right? So it definitely gave you a lot of possibilities early on there. So as you're going through here, I think I'm not sure because I didn't see you have a tracker on stream. I think you got pretty high up there in terms of Esper count, and you were looking for sort of that final character. So talk us through your thought process of where is this last character at? Because you went to the Floating Continent and it wasn't there, and you did some of the other longer checks. So how were you feeling at that point?
I was starting to get to a point where it's like, okay, I know I have the espers to get it done, so I was like, okay, where can I get my final character and maybe get the skip at the same time?
Mhm.
So that's why I started addressing, okay, hey, let's go do floating continent. And at that point, I was like, okay, I know one of my characters has Berserk, so if I run into Magic Master, I'm at the point now where I should be able to take care of him, no problem.
Yep.
I forgot
Which
who had
thankfully
it.
it
but-
did. Yep. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And then as far as for Kefka's Tower, were you concerned about the composition of your party, or did you think, hey, my crew can take care of whatever the game sort of throws at me now?
Once I realized I had Realm's magic power at 99, I was like, okay, I don't need to have the experience egg on her once I get a little more MP on her. So I moves things around so I can start getting Mog's magic power up. And then when I got the Illumina for Strago, I was like, okay, I can put a little less effort into him now. So, but my expectation was going to be Realm with Bahamut and the double VK Edgar was going to be my carry.
Yeah, that Edgar doing basically an incredible amount of damage allowed you to just take down Kefka in like 2 turns, essentially, right? So that was really, really awesome to see. Knight Dude, do you have any questions for DMR while we have them here in chat?
Kind of one for DMR and Darkness here. More as, just because there's so much to pay attention to. I'm pretty sure both of you walked into Auction House. Did either one of you actually pull the Esper out of there?
I did not go to Auction House.
Okay, that
so
must have
I
been
can't say.
Min, but I'm like, I know I saw people in the Auction House. I never saw an Esper come out.
I did peek it, but I was like, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in it. So once the first thing came out, like the Mithril Claw, I was like, nah, I changed my mind. I was like, we'll go see. Then it hit me. It's like, well, the Tzin Thief. Let me just go do that instead.
Yeah, that was another thing. There was I believe the low price on it was 35K, and I believe most summer runners did let that sit for quite some time. So, but yeah, that's,
I totally forgot about
sometimes I have that myself. There is sometimes if I do not pick that up early, I will forget it exists until like check 19.
Yeah, I never picked up Sun Thief. Oops.
Yep.
Sorry.
And I remember the World of Balance when I checked it, I was like 46,000. So I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. But then when I did the Katana Soul and I ended up having the Cat Hood on Realm and I think it was like 116k gold out of that one. And I was like, okay, well, I got Zen Thief covered. And I also had in the back of my mind around that same area, like I have experience eggs in the shop there for 60k a piece. I was like, okay, well, now I can really get off the ground here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very cool show. Just wanted to thank you for volunteering to be on Restream. We can't have the races without the runners, so I really appreciate that. And I guess the only other question I have, and I asked this of the Moogles that took place in the race, what is something that you're sort of working on with your mentor and hope to improve throughout the course of the first couple of weeks here in the group stage?
The main thing is it's been so long since I've played Final Fantasy VI, and it's like, okay, I was a little kid, so there's like a lot of de-rusting with navigating through areas, and it's like I've gotten familiar enough with the checks now where it's like, okay, I know where things are to go and check, but it's kind of cutting down on like the boneheaded mistakes, excessive menuing. It's those little things I'm trying to see if I can get those to add up and really improve on my time. I mean, I'm always learning is how I look at it, even if it's just something minuscule that I can learn from it.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And I'll tell you, even as someone who's been playing the game for like 4 years now, I always learn something new almost every time I watch. So there's a lot to this game, and it's one of the the somewhat daunting at times things about trying to learn it is there's so much information and exceptions to rules that you gotta it's sometimes maybe a little overwhelming, but
Oh, absolutely.
But it is sure a lot of fun to do and to play. So again, thanks for being on Restream. And can't have the races without the runners, so thank you guys. Night Dude, thank you so much as well for doing commentary with me. This is a lot of fun.
I mean, you did all the heavy lifting in terms of most everything else there. I just sit in the box and talk, but it has been an honor, yes.
Awesome.
And
well, do we have any? Yeah, go ahead, Timur. Sorry, guys.
I just want to say thank y'all to putting this together, making it an enjoyable experience. Been a great community to be a part of. And I definitely look forward to doing more and learning more of this and being a part of this community. It's been a pleasure like the entire time I've been doing this. So.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks everybody so much. We have any other final thoughts? Night 2, Fiery Blizzard, Darkness, anybody?
No, other than thanks to I was about to say the Restream team, but that is you. Thanks to SpeedGaming for having us, sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yes, but other than that, again, as you said, thanks to the runners who make this all possible. No runners, no stream. And, hey, one of the best learning is just for anybody who isn't on this or Moogles who want to get on this, they have these weekly races. Sometimes the best way to learn is just see yourself run alongside everybody else and say, oh, I could have done that there. Sometimes watching this back is just fun, and you learn a whole lot when you do that as well.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out and watching, and we'll see you next week on Worlds Collide Wednesday. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.
Yeesh.